Hello everyone, this is Kirsten here, and today's video is going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to share about what is a burnout recovery spectrum, what it is, how it works, and why it's so important to go through all the 3 steps that I'm going to tell you about today in order to fully recover from burnout. And when I say burnout, I mean together the over-exercising and then under-eating, which cause a lot of problems for all of us, and we're going to go over them as well. There are 3 steps that we have to go through in order to fully recover from that burnout. And it starts with the burnout. That's the first step. Then the second step is the healing. And then the last step is balance. One of my clients once told me that she feels like she lives her life in this constant grandma mode. And when I say grandma mode, I don't mean anything bad, and I don't think she meant either. It's nothing against grandmas. Grandmas are awesome. But the way that she described her health and her day-to-day life sounded like this. And I'm going to read this for you. I wake up, I have very little energy already in the morning. I get through my workday okay, although I need a lot of coffee to stay awake. I'm exhausted, but after I'm done at the office, I still work out. I know that it doesn't even do anything for me at this point because my body is exhausted from never taking a break, but I just feel like I have to work out. And then I just crash. I don't go out much anymore because I don't have any energy left. I often eat the same things day after day, and although I'm bored, I'm also super scared to change anything and to eat anything different. Every day is the same. Does this sound familiar to you? Even if she doesn't describe exactly you may have resonated with some of the things that she said. And this is not the life we're really meant to live. And I want to read you another story from another previous client of mine who said this. I used to constantly think about food and exercise. When I could eat next, what was I allowed to eat? Did I exercise enough to eat it? And how many calories could I eat? It was like I was a schizophrenic. Now, when I'm hungry, I eat, and I eat what feels good to me and what I want to eat. I have so much more mental energy now, and I'm able to talk and be with people that I want to be with, and I'm interested in so many more things than just food and exercise. So this is the ultimate goal. This is the balance phase where we want to end up. But first we have to first realize that we are currently burnt out. We have to do the healing part, and then we can be fully balanced. First, I'd like to tell you a short version of how things happened for me, and I will keep it short because I talked about it already before. There are many videos on that topic specifically, but to put it real short, I had always been really athletic and super active, and the track and field and basketball and all that. And then when I was 21, I started running a lot, and I also lost a lot of weight. And since then, I was exercising extremely a lot. And also for many years, I kept my calories really low or tried a different diet, and then ate very low fat diet. And I had better times and then a little worse times, but overall it was around 2016, end of 2016 or beginning of 2017 when I started to get really tired because I was just working out so much, and I had to cut my workout shorter and shorter. And in addition, I was losing my workout motivation, which was a totally new thing for me because, like I said, I had always been super into fitness, and I always loved fitness. I never hated it. But now I was like, oh my goodness, I can't motivate myself to go out. I even joined like a group class, which I had not done much before, maybe a few here and there. But now I joined it because I wanted to stay accountable and like keep doing my workouts because I felt that otherwise I may not do them anymore. And it was a totally new situation for me, and I was just so tired from working out so much. And although my eating was so much better by the end of 2016 or early 2017 compared to where I was like in 2010 to 2014, let's say, I still had a lot of work to do, and I was still in this very burnt out mode. And then I started healing, which I'm going to get into a little bit more what it means and what it looks like. This is the second step on the spectrum. And when I got into healing, everything got so much better. And then now, a couple of years later, I can say that I'm completely recovered and healthy. I can work out again, and I do so regularly. And I can even have new workout goals, maybe some like strength goals, or actually right now I'd like to put on more muscle. But these things were not available for me when I was still in this healing phase. So it's really, really important that we go from burnout to healing, and then finally find that balance. In my case, recovering from this deep burnout took about 5 months. That was the time when I got my period back, but then that was the physical part. But then emotionally, mentally, there was still a little bit more work to do. So overall, I would say it was maybe about a year until I felt like, okay, now I'm feeling really, really solid. Now I know exactly what I'm doing, how not to overtrain anymore, and how to nourish my body in a good way. All right, next we're going to move on to those 3 phases of burnout and burnout recovery. And the first phase, like I said before, it is the burnout itself. This is where we are really overtraining. We are usually under eating. We are obsessively focusing on our body weight, shape, and size. And when I asked my followers on Instagram what did overtraining and burnout look like for them when they described their workouts, this is what they told me. So for example, for me, it meant running 9 miles before work from Monday to Saturday and 15 miles on Sundays, rain or shine. Okay, pretty typical. Or at least 3 hours of dancing 5 days a week, plus 1 hour lifting weights 5 days a week. I never rested, never. And here's another one. In the morning, I did 1 hour of cardio on the cross trainer if I wasn't doing boot camp or cycle class. And in the evening, I was back at the gym. Another one, I did 1 to 2 hours of cardio a day, plus HIIT and weightlifting 4 times per week. And maybe I'll read you another one. I walked to 3 bar classes, strength training for an hour, ran 6 miles, and I did abs after I ran. And I say one more, going to the gym twice in college, with the first session being an hour and second one 45 minutes. So these are pretty common examples of our overtraining and why we get to this situation where we are completely burnt out and need a lot of time to recover. The second phase then, this is the phase that we absolutely have to go through in order to start feeling better. There's no shortcut from burnout to balance. There has to be this healing between. And in this healing phase, it's so critical that we do the things opposite to what we did in the burnout phase. So we start really taking our body through these steps in order to start feeling better and also restore the metabolism. And then lastly, we find that balance phase, which this is the phase where the true magic happens. We've been through the previous phases. We're no longer doing anything extreme, and we have found our happy place and hopefully for life. Let's talk more about the first burnout phase, and we go over some physical and physiological things that happen in the body when you are in the complete burnout phase, okay? So a lot of times we're restricting calories in addition to all the workouts that I just told you about. We're also restricting calories, often very severely, and we're always careful to not eat too much, right? And this too much is pretty random, pretty arbitrary. No one knows what it is. It's just something in our heads. In many cases, we restrict macronutrients, most commonly carbs, but also sometimes fat. I personally restricted fats a lot when I was doing these diets, or mostly Weight Watchers. Now I see that about 75% of women who come to me with their overtraining problem or burnout issue have been on a very low carb diet, not necessarily always a keto diet, but whatever lower carb diet it has been. Then we've been doing everything that we can to keep our weight down, even if it means starving ourselves or doing multiple workouts a day. We've been really, really attached to the scale. We've been weighing ourselves obsessively, sometimes multiple times a day. And that was me too. I got on a scale every single morning to see what it showed. And of course I did it after my long run to see the lowest number possible. And in general, like every decision we make in this phase when we're burnt out is revolving around how this is going to affect my body, how this is going to affect my meals, how this is going to affect my workout. So every decision we make is just, we are getting like so perfectionist about it. And so we want to make sure that we get our workout in no matter what, and nothing can like interrupt our perfect diet. So as a result, we're often really exhausted, we're irritable, we're rarely happy with how we look also, because even though we worked so hard to get that certain look, we are not happy with it. There's never a moment when you're like, yes, I did it. We always want to have more and more and more and better results. So as a result of all that, a lot of things happen in our body. And I'm going to share with you one of my clients' experience. I'm going to read this to you. And she says, I used to have many health issues. I had no period, I had severe constipation, I had extreme anxiety around food, I would get panic attacks at restaurants, I had interrupted sleep, and I had no libido. I had been to several doctors, but no one told me that my body's out of balance because of overtraining and undereating. So this is a really common thing, super common example. So in general, when we are in this burnt out state, we have poor sleep, and that can go two ways. That can look like having bad insomnia, where maybe you're able to fall asleep, but then you wake up super early and can't go back to sleep. And this is related to cortisol. The cortisol is chronically elevated all the time, and this is why we feel this way. Cortisol spikes too earlier when it's supposed to, and that wakes us up. The other sleep issue that happens is that we want to sleep all the time because we are so exhausted, and that is often the next step. It's like more severe case. So in this case, we want to sleep all the time. Even like 10 hours of sleep doesn't make us feel any better. The next sign is that we have irregular periods, or they're missing altogether. Or if you're tracking your ovulation, you notice that you don't ovulate anymore. But definitely if the periods go away completely, this is a big sign that we are in this burnout mode. We have very low body temperature. We're always feeling cold. We're often constipated. We have a lot of bloating and gas going on. Our sex drive is gone, the nails are brittle, the hair is falling out, the skin is really dry. Actually, one of my clients had so dry skin that her hands started bleeding. We are also anxious and depressed, and we are often in a bad mood. And these all are really big signs that our metabolism is slowing down. If you're interested, by the way, if you're interested in learning more about metabolism and what happens and why all these things happen and how to fix it, I'm going to put a resource in the description. It's a 7-day email series where you can learn more about it and what to do about it. Next, moving on to the second phase of the recovery spectrum, and that is healing. Okay, at one point, the physical and mental effects that come from the first phase, the burnout phase, are getting really bad, so bad that we can no longer deny that we have a problem, and it just really starts to affect the quality of our lives, not only our workouts, but the entire quality of lives. So when this happens, we have to start doing pretty much the opposite of what we did before. So we had a lot of workouts and very little eating and like running around constantly. So now we have to start doing the opposite thing, and this is the healing phase. So we have to significantly reduce our exercise. We have to cut out the long cardio and intense training like HIIT training or boot camps or high intensity interval training as well. These types of workouts are really taxing on the body, but they can be fine for somebody who is healthy. For somebody whose metabolism body is burnt out, they are not a good option. So you have to drop those. We have to start nourishing our body with right foods and increase the overall food intake to heal our bodies. If you have hypothermic amenorrhea, if you have lost your period, I do have a resource, and that it is called How to Eat to Get Your Period Back, and I'm going to put that in the description as well, so you can grab that. Another thing that we have to start doing is sleeping so much more than we did before, because sleep is really healing, it's really nourishing. And also take naps as you need them. I know a lot of people say don't take naps because it's going to mess up your sleep at night. But on the other hand, when your body is exhausted and you have this opportunity, please take those naps. Also, when you start doing those super intense workouts, your cortisol levels normalize, and that is also going to help you sleep better. Eating enough calories also is going to make your sleep better. So sleep more, it's very important. Next thing, start a mindfulness practice, whatever it is for you. I know a lot of people who are in this first phase, overtraining and burnout phase, they say that I don't have time for this, or I'm too impatient for this, and I can't even do yoga class. Well, now you sort of have to, because you have to, again, calm your body, calm your mind, come back to yourself, and start doing, for example, guided meditations. I have a resource. I have free guided meditations for you if you want them. They're right there. You can also start doing deep breathing exercises, like take 5 deep breaths in and let out 6 breaths, right? 5 in, 6 out. That's very, very calming. So every day do something. You can also do journaling, whatever it is that makes you feel more centered and more calm and makes you run around a little bit less, because your body and mind really need that. For some of us, the phase 2, the healing phase, may be the first time in our lives where we're actually starting to listen to our bodies and eating the things we truly want. And there are many foods that we maybe haven't let ourselves eat for like a decade. And little by little, or if you can take bigger steps and just rip the band-aid off and start eating everything. We have to start letting go of the numbers and rules and restrictions that we have had before. And this step can be really, really scary, but it's absolutely necessary, so that you can start understanding what the food freedom really is. You can make a big progress in just a couple of weeks. So here's an example from one of my clients, and she says that I am finally eating over 1,500 calories on purpose. She used to severely undereat, so now she's eating more than that. I've had earlier lunch than usual. I've had earlier snack than usual. I'm not counting calories. I'm not measuring. I have ordered in from restaurants. I've eaten with other people. I've been eating carbs for breakfast, which is totally new for her. I've been eating fruit every day. I've been eating meals that aren't only salads. So these are a couple of examples of those changes that can shift. And remember how I said about times that she's been eating earlier breakfast and earlier lunch, earlier dinner. This is one thing also that we have to work through, so that we don't have like set times. Hey, I always eat lunch at noon. So if you're hungry earlier, you have to eat earlier. Also, the healing phase may be the first time ever where we let go of structured exercise, and even more so, we let go of this idea that more is better. We have to stop stressing our bodies with intense workouts at this point, and otherwise the body just cannot recover. It's also important that we don't get on the scale, because it really doesn't help us. Most people gain weight in this phase, and this weight gain is normal and it's needed. If you know that seeing this number is going to drive you nuts, which it does for a lot of people, then please don't get on the scale. It doesn't give you any useful information at this point. Also, stop measuring your food, stop measuring your carbs, stop measuring your fats. Put away that fitness tracker, stop tracking your steps, and try and see what it feels like to move intuitively, how much your body is really wanting. Because at this point in this healing phase, we really have to make sure that we listen to our bodies and do only as much as feels good, and not push ourselves, because the body has been so stressed out for several years. So finally, let's give the body this rest that it needs and move intuitively. And as a result of taking these steps in the healing phase, you start seeing a lot of good changes. Your sleep will get better. Like I said, the cortisol will balance out, and you start sleeping deeper and longer and wake up more rested. If you've been getting up several times a night to pee, then these times will also decrease. Like peeing 3, 4, 5 times a night is pretty common in those who are burnt out, but this will go away when you start healing. We should feel better when we wake up in the morning. We should feel ready for the day. Also, our periods should come back and normalize. It's not to say that you have to have a perfect 28-day cycle, and especially in the beginning, when you get your periods back, they're not going to look like that for most people. So be patient with it. But if you get your period back, this is a great sign that you're doing the right thing. Constipation should get so much better. You shouldn't feel as constipated anymore. The gas should go away. Feeling really bloated is super common in a couple of first weeks, a couple of months even in recovery. Your libido should increase, and you should be less irritable, and overall you should be in a better mood and just feeling better about yourself, and feeling kind of happier and more rested and more relaxed. The first two phases, the burnout and the healing, were the opposite of each other, right? In a way, they're both sort of extremes. Here we did too much and everything and worked out hard and starved, and here we rested a ton, relaxed a ton, and then also ate a ton. So they were the opposites. So when we are ready, we can slowly start coming back to that middle ground, which is called balance. Once we arrive in this balance phase, we are no longer in either extreme. And here are a couple of examples of what that balance looks like. We no longer work out 7 days a week like we probably did in the burnout phase, but we can also do a little bit more than what we did in the healing phase. Because in the healing phase, we did maybe just walking, we did some yoga. But now when we are feeling truly balanced, the body is back in balance and we're feeling really solid and strong, we can start adding some workouts, right? We can maybe start doing 2-3 strength workouts a week if you want to, of course, or your other exercise that you like to, but we don't go to either extreme anymore. We're not going to burn ourselves out anymore, but we can do a little bit more than we did in the healing phase. It's not true that you cannot resume your normal exercise routine. And I'm going to read you an experience from one of my clients, how she felt in this balance phase about her exercise. She says, after feeling like I would never know how to exercise again, I did the entire program with me and I had consistent period throughout that. So she previously had hypothalamic amenorrhea. She also says that after the program, I was able to develop my own unique exercise routine that changes week to week based on how my body's feeling. I learned that just because a workout doesn't leave me drenched in sweat and exhausted doesn't mean it didn't count. I learned that I could take multiple rest days and actually still feel strong in my next workout, not like all my progress was gone. And also I stopped critiquing my body after working out, wondering when all the fat would go away. And instead I was able to focus on how much strength I was building and how much energy I had working out this way. So this is great. This is exactly what we want to understand. And also it's important to know that what everybody else is doing or your friend is doing, it's not what you should be doing. We have to be like, okay, how is my body feeling? And not get distracted by others. And one more thing actually that she says is that after the program, I was able to go to the gym and watch people working out in high intensity way. And instead of feeling guilty about not participating, I recognized that this form of exercise just isn't for me and that I can do my own thing and still be strong. So this is where we all want to understand ultimately. Also, how the balance phase is different from the first two phases is that we no longer eat like 1200 or 1500 calories like we did in the burnout phase, but we also don't have to eat a lot, eat to sometimes discomfort. We don't always have to have that post-meal dessert. We can if we want to, but it's not our intention anymore because we don't have to push any more food, right? If the body's balanced. The balance phase, we're able to have some dessert sometimes, but not all dessert all the time, right? So it is a balance. It's in between. Another difference between the first and second and the third phase of the spectrum is that we no longer have like extreme physique goals as we did in the first phase. Like, maybe you're thinking, I have to have this super rock solid six pack, or I have to get my body fat percentage to single digits. Which are crazy goals and for most of us dangerous and unhealthy. And then in the other end of the spectrum was the healing phase where we had to gain weight in order to recover. We could not set any like weight loss goals. That would be absolutely silly to do in the healing phase. However, once we are truly balanced and we've been in this balanced phase for quite some time now, we're feeling really strong and healthy, then we can start having new goals again. Maybe I have a goal to lift really heavy weight. I want to see how much I can challenge myself, or maybe I want to put on a little bit more muscle. If you are mentally and physically and emotionally ready and strong to do it, these things are again available for you in the balance phase. But of course, you never want to let things go obsessive so that you end up in the first phase again. I want this to be super clear. Next, let's talk about our mindset changes in all three different phases of this spectrum. When we are in the first phase, the burnout phase, what describes the way we think in this phase the best is the black or white mindset or perfectionistic mindset. I have to work super hard and I have to eat according to my rules, and there are no exceptions and no excuses. More workouts is better and less food is better. I have to be perfect. And perfectionism is, for example, I cannot run 55 minutes. I have to run 60 minutes because that was my goal. I have to go 1 hour. Or also my goal was to do 20 reps and I did 18 and that's not good. So this perfectionist way of thinking is very common in the first phase. Also, we tend to judge other people by saying people should really work out more. People should not really eat that thing because they don't know that it's bad for them. So there's this little bit of like judgment also. We also think that we should never take rest days, or we should only have 1 rest day a week. And we always have to push through or diet harder no matter how uncomfortable it is. We still have to do it. And because of these thoughts and these behaviors and these beliefs, we developed all these health issues that we just talked about earlier. Now, when we get to that second phase, again, we go to the opposite end of the spectrum. So in this phase, this is how our mindset often shifts. And these are the great changes, I gotta say. These are really, really good changes. I let go of all the food rules. Hopefully you will let go of all the food rules that you've had and surrender to this process. It's very, very important to do that. Also, no matter how much food I end up needing, this is what I have to do right now, and I surrender to it. I'm going to eat dessert. Everything is allowed for me and it's totally fine and okay. There are many days when I just lie on the couch and don't do anything. Also, great mindset shift for somebody who is in the healing phase. I let go of all tracking, put away my Fitbit, don't look at the calories. Also a good mindset shift for somebody who's in the healing phase. And instead of being mean to myself, I speak kindly to myself and I'm nice and I still love myself no matter what. All these things are very, very important that we understand in the healing phase, because if we're still self-judgmental, if we're still super critical, there is no recovering. Even if we physically recover, even if we eat more food, if we don't do the mindset work, then we're not able to fully recover. However, there's one thing that I see sometimes happening with those people who are in the healing phase, and that is also getting a little bit judgmental to those people who are doing things differently. And I understand where it's coming from. We are in this position where we are right now, and everything else starts to feel wrong. It's kind of like in the first phase where we were saying people should not eat that, this is bad, people should work out more, they're not doing enough. Actually, a very similar thing can happen in the second phase, the healing phase. And here sometimes we say no one should ever run or do any intense training. But this is not true, because not everybody is in the same phase, right? Somebody reached out to me on Instagram and said that yes, like people have told me that, why are you posting your workout pictures if you say that you are recovered from your eating disorder? And here's the thing, they are not one and the same thing. Those people who are in the healing phase often see things from their perspective, but we have to understand that not everybody is there. Some people are healed, or some people were never even broken and they're totally fine. So another thing that I see sometimes the people in the healing phase think is that wanting to change your body composition is always a bad thing and means that you are not body positive. And this is not true, because if you're healthy and if you have no problems with food, and then I don't see why it is a bad thing to carefully and intentionally and responsibly change your body composition. It's not a bad thing for somebody who's healthy. Another thing that I see people in the healing phase say is that if you order salad instead of pizza, you are obsessed. Or if you work out on a vacation instead of lying by the pool all the time, that means that you're workout addicted. No one should ever lose weight. Weight loss is always a bad idea. Elimination diets are always unnecessary, and food allergies don't exist. Statements like this actually really reflect the similar black and white mindset that we talked about before when we talked about the burnout phase. Now it's just a different side of the same coin, because it's not really fair to project our past experience to someone else who's maybe not overtrained and maybe really needs those food restrictions. So we have to be really careful with these types of things and understand that there has to be balance. Now, the mindset changes a lot in the third phase, which is the balance phase. And this is the place where we're able to see things more in a balanced way, from the different perspective. we understand that not everyone is going through the same thing. Many people are in the different phase of the recovery, and many people have nothing to recover from. So they don't have messed up relationship with food and exercise, and they're totally fine. So this is how we know that mentally also we have arrived in this balance phase. For example, we're not thinking anymore that weight loss is the most important thing about our lives, the way we thought in the phase one, the burnout phase. But we also no longer judge those people who want to lose weight or have to do it for the health reasons, or even if they want to lose or change their physique. So this is the mindset that we probably had in the second phase, the healing phase. All weight loss is all bad. So in the balance phase, we understand that people may want to lose weight for their health or for their looks. And if they do it in a responsible way and healthy way, it's not our place to judge, right? Also, in the last phase, the balance phase, we understand that we don't have to have that perfect food the way we thought about it in the burnout phase, right? Everything revolved around the food. The food has to be like absolutely perfect. But we also don't have to do what we did in the healing phase, where we still learned the food freedom and, ate everything and anything. This was needed, but in the balance phase, we find that middle ground where we maybe do really well with some structure. Maybe our structure feels like eating vegetables at most meals, or taking care of having enough protein with every meal, and these things are no longer obsessive, right? So some structure might be okay in the last phase. What's dangerous in the first phase is that we come up with food sensitivities. We say, oh, I have this intolerance, I can't eat this and that. Actually, at the same time, the goal is to lose more weight. Now, in the healing phase, like I just mentioned earlier, we tend to be a little bit judgmental towards those people who actually have food sensitivity, and we just think that they must be lying. But the truth is, and this is what we understand in the balance phase, that some people really do have those food sensitivities. Not everybody's saying that they have them just because they want to lose weight. In the burnout phase, we had this mantra that no pain, no gain, right? We have to do all the hard workouts, or otherwise we're a loser or we're not perfect. And in the other phase, which is the healing, this is where we were like, oh, I only do walking and yoga, and this is what everybody should do, because running and HIIT training, it's always a bad thing, and we should never push ourselves. Now, you know that you are strongly in the balance phase, where you understand, okay, I am strong, I'm healthy. Maybe I want to push myself a little bit today, but I never do it if I don't feel fine, right? So maybe I want to have a new workout goal, but it's not going to be anything so extreme that it's going to make me go back to the first phase. So this is what the balance really is. It's a mindset shift, it's the freedom, and it's also a lot of like awareness and acceptance at the same time. And finally, why balance is the ultimate goal for all of us. It's important so that we can make better fitness choices for ourselves. The purpose of exercise and movement in general is to improve the quality of our life. And when we listen to our bodies and figure out that works best for us, the best exercise that works for us, best workouts, and we avoid doing anything extreme, then we make fitness sustainable for ourselves so that we can keep doing it for life, and we don't do any crazy stuff that makes us lose our health. Another reason why it's important to find that balance is that if we have that, we make better food choices as well. Food is fuel, food is medicine, it's also a source of joy. So we want to avoid doing any extreme weight loss stuff again, but it's also not really a good idea to eat only for joy all the time, only for pleasure. So in this balance phase, we put together the knowledge that we have about food and how it affects us, and also our intuition. It's actually two parts. The next reason why it's important to be balanced is that we have more acceptance for others too. It doesn't matter what other people eat or don't eat, or how they move or don't move. When we are balanced and happy with ourselves, it's so much easier to let other people do what they do and not police them, which the policing is what happens a lot in the first and second phase. Also, when we are balanced, we are spiritually better aligned. Anger and preaching and judgment really keep our minds and hearts closed. And by making choices that are truly good for us, and by accepting others and what's good for them, we are keeping our minds and our hearts open. And as a result, we are much better aligned with ourselves also spiritually. And lastly, we grow. Being stuck in old thought patterns and refusing to see things that are uncomfortable, these are things that keep us small. And it's important to expose ourselves to new perspectives and understand that our truth is not the truth always, right? And when we keep our minds open, then we are challenged to think differently. Maybe even this video challenged you to think differently a little bit, and I hope it did. Balance feels great, and I'm going to share with you an experience from my client and the way she experiences balance right now. And she says, well, first things first, I have to say 6 months ago, I never ever thought I would be in the place where I am now. I used to wonder in the past whether I'd ever be able to give up an exercise, and well, here I am. She's recovering from hypothalamic amenorrhea. With your help, I'm in a place of true exercise and food freedom, somewhere that I never thought was possible. I've truly discovered who I am outside of the gym, and I have learned to put my health first. And I truly understand what the word health means. My anxiety around food and exercise used to be almost crippling, and I feel like I'm come full circle. This is it. This is the full circle. From burnout to healing to finally balance. Full circle. And now I'm able to appreciate and enjoy outings with friends without worrying about missing a workout or the amount of calories I'm eating. And I hope I can maintain this freedom for the rest of my life. So I really love this because it's exactly what it is. It describes balance so well. And I want to read you another one. And this is going to be the last one. My client says, I don't have any purpose to weigh myself anymore. Who cares if I feel good? There's far less anxiety. Yes, you feel good. So this is the intuitive part. This is the balance part. You're feeling great. So there's no need to weigh yourself anymore. I don't count calories or nutrients anymore. I try to balance out macros and nutrient-rich foods and not overeat. So again, it's not that she's like starving and restricting and feeling absolutely desperate, but she's also not eating like everything and all the things all the time, which was what we had to do in the healing phase. So now she says, I'm balancing out macronutrients and eating nutrient-rich foods, and I don't overeat. This is the balance to me. She also says, I don't push workouts when I'm tired or exhausted, and I rest when I'm tired. I find other ways to move. See, again, she's not completely stopping movement, but she's also not pushing it. She finds other ways to move, and I try again the next day, and then I move on. And that's it. This is how you know that you're mentally there as well. You find that balance that is healthy for your body and mind. All right, this was a really long video. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you found this video helpful and useful. Don't forget to check out the resources that I put in the description. There's a lot of stuff that I think is going to be useful for you. And if you need any help, please reach out to me. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.